In a world of monsters, where every crack and shadow hid a new terror, I lived as a man no larger than an ant, forever hunted, hiding, and scurrying from horrors beyond imagination. I had become accustomed to living in fear, to constantly looking over my shoulder as monstrous, clawed beasts and towering predators lurked nearby, ever eager to make a meal of me. The feeling of being so small, so helpless, was a bitter weight on my heart. Yet somehow I clung to life. But it wasn't until I met her that everything changed. She was, in my tiny world, a radiant goddess of warmth and gentleness, a towering being with eyes like oceans that shimmered with kindness and strength. She wasn't like the monsters. She was the opposite of every horror that haunted me. She was safety and comfort in a land that knew none. At first, I thought she might simply step on me by accident, or scoop me up in her hand, uncertain what I was. But she leaned in close, her face filling my sky, and with a voice that rumbled through my bones, she whispered in tones like soft thunder. "You poor thing," she said, her voice carrying both sorrow and wonder. So small, so fragile, I could hardly find my voice, trembling with awe and fear. I don't want to die," was all I managed to say. It was a feeble, desperate whisper, but I meant it. I had fought too hard to live this long, despite my minuscule size. Her eyes softened, and in that moment, I knew she understood the depth of my fear. Gently, she scooped me into her palm, lifting me higher than I'd ever been, the air thinning as she brought me up to her lips. I couldn't tell what she was planning, but something in her gaze soothed me, a strange warmth replacing the cold dread that usually gripped my heart. "I don't want you to be hurt by them," she whispered, looking around as though the monsters were watching us even now, lurking just out of sight. "Let me protect you. Let me keep you safe." There was no time to answer, as she parted her lips, her warm breath washing over me like a soft breeze. And before I could truly understand her intent, she lifted me to her mouth and gently, tenderly, placed me on her tongue. I slid into the warm, moist cavern, feeling her lips close behind me, shutting out the terrifying world. At first, I was frightened, my heart racing as the darkness enveloped me. But then, as I lay on her soft, living flesh, a sense of calm overtook me. I realized I was inside her, shielded from the world by the very body of the one who cared enough to protect me. As I slipped deeper, sliding down her throat in waves of warmth and motion, I expected panic, but there was only peace. She was so gentle, so caring even in this, cradling me within herself. It was dark, but it was a comforting darkness, as if I were wrapped in blankets on a stormy night. The sounds of her heartbeat and breathing filled my ears, a steady rhythm that drowned out any fear I had left. Here, there were no monsters, no claws or fangs waiting to rip me apart. Just the gentle embrace of someone who wanted to save me. Deeper and deeper I went, until finally, I felt myself settle in the warmth of her stomach. It was soft and alive, the walls around me pulsing with gentle life, keeping me close, safe, and hidden from the dangers that prowled outside. I could feel her heartbeat all around me, each beat like a soft drum that resonated in my tiny frame, a reassuring reminder of her presence. In the depths of her warmth, I felt a security I'd never known before. There was a sense of surrender, of finally letting go of my constant terror and trusting in the care she offered. I could feel her love in each beat of her heart, each gentle movement as her body adjusted to cradle me. She had wanted to protect me from the monsters, and here, within her, I knew they could never reach me. I don't know how long I remained there, cushioned and warm, nestled within her. Time lost its meaning, and I simply allowed myself to drift, content in the embrace of her care. I didn't need to hide, to run, to fear the claws or jaws of creatures that once plagued my every moment. She had brought me into her world, making me a part of her, and in that, I was safer than I had ever been. Though I knew I could never return to the life I once had, I found peace within her. She had saved me from the horrors of the world in the only way she could, and for that, I was grateful beyond words. Here, in her warmth and care, I finally found my home.